Hey everybody, welcome back to the Around the Leagues podcast. We're back this week, uh, middle of April, so we've been here for quite a while now. I've got
Yeah.
set up today just for the time being, hopefully, but yeah, it's not really that much different. My laptop has just moved 3 feet and facing a different direction, but
Hey, I
I,
mean, we're very appreciative of the new views. What can I say?
yeah, I'm watching. I think it's Cubs highlights from like 4 years ago when they were somewhat decent. So yippee, go Russ! But
Uh,
yeah. Um,
well, speaking of views, I'm out running the streets as I usually am. Just doing a lot less running and more walking, more or less. But as you can see, it's very sunny, very good weather. If you hear any strange noises or animals talking, that's not me. So
No, I
just giving you
thought for
guys a
sure
little
that was
heads
you
up.
barking in the background, but who am I
Yeah,
to
well,
know?
I can't help these dumbass dogs, man. What can I say, man? Some of these cats meow different. Some of these dogs bark different, man. What
Dude,
can
I
I say?
feel that one. I got the same situation here at home, so just gonna take a sip of my orange juice
So,
because gotta get that vitamin C.
but anyway, we're gonna get it popping today. We got a fun podcast for you. We're gonna talk. Well, a whole lot of vitamin C out here today. What can I say? Even though I'm thinking of vitamin D, so just ignore what I'm trying to say.
But
so,
yeah, so
uh,
yeah, take it
we got
ahead.
some draft stuff lined up, and Luke, before we get into some specifics, is there anything in general you want to talk about? Any movements in your mock? Any differences in grading that you've noticed? Anything to report on?
Um, no, I mean aside from Tua, which we talked about a little bit ago, in our last one the other night. I like Tua more than I did at this time a week ago. Um,
Yep.
I'm I'm still obviously I'm going to be worried about his hip and his ankles because he had way too many ankle injuries at Alabama. But he's got the poise you look for. He's got the arm strength that I mean it doesn't pop off the film, but it's definitely enough to. I mean it gets the job done. He can extend plays with his legs. He's healthy, and I think he does a good job of maintaining everything. So I like Tua a little bit more than I expected to at this point, which I'm happy that the draft is as late as it is, just because it gives you that time to go back. There's a few other guys that I'm not as sold on as the other guys seem to be. Like Ashton Davis is a safety out of California. A lot of people view him as their top safety in the draft. Some think he can be a first round pick. I just don't see it. I have him ranked right around 150 overall. So
Okay.
it's interesting to see. I mean, I like that there's so much diversity. I saw one guy had him ranked third overall, and I'm 140 something spots below him. So it's good to see that there is that some sort of differential between from person to person, and it's not really a consensus class. But one big thing is that up until earlier this week, I think everybody agreed that Jeffrey Okudah, the corner out of Ohio State, was the consensus number one cornerback in the draft. And I think we've seen a little bit of a shift now. I think there was a report, I believe Matt Miller had said earlier this week that C.J. Henderson out of Florida is viewed higher by a few teams. So
Hey, there we go.
that's the first time in this entire process somebody's kind of leaped Okudah, but I think Okudah is still the first off the board. But I think him and Henderson do both go top 10 overall when it's all said and done.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this with Tua. I've kind of heard some conflicting reports as to where he may go. I've heard people say he's going to Miami. I've heard people say unlikely, but I've heard people say they might be going to Detroit. Possibility. I don't see this happening, but maybe Cincinnati takes him at 1. Where do you think Tua goes?
Man, if Detroit takes him, that's a huge disservice to Matthew Stafford.
Big facts. Big facts.
I think he ends up with Miami. I think this is all a smokescreen from them to try to get somebody to jump up ahead of them to take Herbert. And I like Tua in Miami a lot more So if I'm looking at it from the perspective of who fits best, I think Tua in Miami and Herbert in Los Angeles with the Chargers make more sense together. But I still think that there's way too much of a possibility that the Chargers move up from 6 to 3, or maybe even 4, and take Tua to make sure the Dolphins don't get him.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think both Miami and LA are in a position to where they can make it work because the Chargers have Tyrod Taylor at quarterback
Correct.
right now. He could play for a year. He's done it before. He took Buffalo to the playoffs a few years ago. But they could also bring
Yeah.
in Cam Newton on a 1-year deal for him to prove himself. Let Cam get a year while Tua fully does get covered because he's not going to have that offseason program because he doesn't have. They're not going to have probably OTAs or rookie camp. So he's going to miss out on a lot of that time, and he's going to need it because he's still rehabbing a little bit. He has been cleared, but there's still limitations to what he can do on the field and not seeing contact and stuff like that. So, go get Cam Newton for a year, let Tua sit behind him and Tyrod. He won't even have to touch the field. If sometimes they can, they can let Taylor play. So I don't know. I want to see him go to Miami. I think Miami deserves a quarterback. They've had a good offseason, but I still just wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers make that jump for him.
So do you think which pick do you think he goes earliest at? Do you think the earliest he goes is LA at 4, or do you think he falls to Miami at 5?
I think the earliest he goes is 3 with a trade up.
Okay.
But his floor could be 18, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
If the Dolphins, say that teams are still concerned about his medicals because they can't meet with doctors, right? Say
Correct.
Lions pass on. Lions don't need him. Giants take an offensive tackle. Dolphins come back. They take offensive tackle at 5. Chargers take Herbert at 6. Well, then nobody really needs 2 up until that point. Maybe the Jaguars at 9, but they probably don't do that.
How about say they got Nick Foles with a whole lot of money sitting on the bench at that point?
No, Nick Foles is gone.
Oh, that's right. He went to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
That's
but
right. My bad.
They could still look at a guy like Eason or Jordan Love a little bit later. So they pass, and then he slides. Nobody in the teams is going to need him because they're still competing for a playoff spot. Well, that brings Miami back to 18, and then Miami at that point, realistically, they could end up with their top left tackle at 5 and their top quarterback in Tua at 18. Not very realistic, but it's still a possibility moving.
And that gives them an A grade in the first round, doesn't it?
I would assume, yeah, as long as everything checks out. But I mean, that's as good as they can hope for.
Sure. So, do you believe Burrow is a lock to go at 1 then?
Yeah, I have seen. I mean, there's so many rumors of like, oh, he's told the Bengals that he doesn't want to play for him. I just don't see. I don't think Burrow's that kind of guy, and I think it's dumb for the Bengals to pass on him because of. I mean, there's so many connections between him and Cincinnati, the state of Ohio. So
correct.
They're in a good position to win. They still have a decent roster in place. Had a good free agency. Burrow can at least make them respectable right now and good in the future. So it'd be so bad for them to pass on them.
Yeah, and then obviously Chase Young's going at 2, correct?
Yeah, and Washington would probably, if I had to guess, if they take Chase Young, they have the best front 7 in football.
Ooh.
I mean, that would give them 3 of the best pass rushers in the league right off the bat. Their interior is stupid. They've got Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne maybe out of Alabama, both Alabama kids. I mean, they've already got a tough front 7. You give them Chase Young, who's one of the best edge prospects in probably the last decade. It's him, Myles Garrett, and Von Miller. Yeah, they're going to be tough. So I like to see what they can do with that.
Does that make them a contender in the NFC East right away?
No, but it makes them at least a threat to knock somebody off. Like, say it's week 17, they can beat somebody and kind of ruin their season, but they don't have the firepower still on offense They've still got to get. I mean, Adrian Peterson's like 36, and he's our starting running back. Darius
Yeah, it's
guys
not a recipe.
hasn't been healthy, which sucks because I had him as like my number 6 player when he came out, and he just hasn't stayed healthy.
Okay.
Trent
Sure.
Williams is gone at left tackle. Still remains to be seen what Haskins can do. So their offense is still very much a question mark, but their defense
Do
always.
you think? I was going to ask, do you think they have a chance to slide in that 7th spot this year with the new playoff format?
I doubt it, but I mean, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me if they got there by defense, but I wouldn't necessarily expect it right now. I would give them at least a year or two, but.
Okay. So let's go back to the draft here. We've been talking quarterbacks for the first half or first portion of this podcast. We've talked about Joe Burrow. We've talked about Tua. I think next on the board would be Justin Herbert, right? We've discussed the possibility that maybe somebody goes up and trades for him above Tua. Maybe that's not the most realistic scenario in the world. In your analysis and your predictions, where do you see Herbert falling this year?
Yeah, so I think he's a top 10 pick, most likely.
Okay.
Whenever I run my mocks, it's tough to find a spot for him, but I think one of Miami or the Chargers has to take him. Unless the Chargers make a move on Cam Newton before the draft. I just don't see that happening. I think Cam wants to wait until it's all over so he can go to a spot where he knows he's going to start. So that would leave.
Sure. Well, do you think LA would choose Herbert over Cam Newton?
I mean, right now, no, but long-term thinking, they would probably have to because of money. Their roster's in place to win right now, but it's also young, so they're gonna have to pay a lot of guys moving forward. So they would most likely have to go young at quarterback if they're looking. They can't sign Cam to like a 40-year deal for some stupid amount of money. It's not going to work out. But
sure,
I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, Jacksonville just continues to be a team that stands out. I just don't know if they go quarterback at 9. And the Colts were an option at 13, but that's not going to happen. So if I had to guess, I would say Herbert goes latest at 6, but anything can really happen. This is a weird year because anything after the top 5 is a crapshoot. So
sure. So do you think? Is there any chance that he falls a little bit further than what's expected? Maybe hits day 2.
No, there's no way he goes day 2.
No day 2 possibility
because you're going to have. Usually it's 3 or 4 quarterbacks go round 1 because you have to get your guy. So
sure.
If he's there at pick 20, Jacksonville's going to take him at 20 because they've got 2 picks in the first. Or they'll trade out and the Patriots can move up from 23 and take him, or take him at 23 if he's still there. Saints at 24 are an option. Hell, the Packers at 30 might not be crazy to think about it if they want to get him as the heir apparent to Rodgers. Tennessee could think about it. There's so many teams at the back of the first round. Plus, you have to consider first round picks have the 5th-year option. So a lot of
that's important to have.
Yeah, we saw it 2014, the Vikings traded up to 32 to get Bridgewater with the last pick of the first round to get him for an extra year. 2 years ago, Baltimore did the same thing, moved up to 32 to get Lamar Jackson for that extra year. So if he's there at 32, I would be very shocked if nobody moved up and grabbed him. But yeah, I think.
So if you're like the first 5, 6, who has the most lose next Thursday night?
Sorry, you cut out right there, Liam. What did you say?
My apologies. I said, looking at the first top 10 picks, who has the most to lose should they not get it right next Thursday night?
In the top 10? Man, it's tough. I got who's on the top 10? It's Cincinnati,
So
Washington, Detroit,
Washington.
Giants,
Yep.
Dolphins, Chargers. Who's at 7? Panthers, Cardinals. Number 9 is
9 is damn who I forget
Jags.
his name.
9 is Jags, and 10 is Cleveland. So just on that, Cleveland's got a lot on the plate. If they hit at left tackle at 10, they're set. They're going to be good. But if that pick doesn't pan out and they don't get a good left tackle, they're still going to have the same problems they've had for the last who knows how long. So
20 years.
yeah. Chargers are in a similar boat, but different reasoning, just because they legitimately have a roster that can win the Super Bowl as long as they had a quarterback. But a rookie.
I mean, people have said that. Yeah.
So, I mean, if they could realistically just, I'll keep saying it. Sign Cam Newton, draft left tackle at 6, and your team is right away at least the biggest threat to the Chiefs and the AFC.
I mean, you had San Francisco go from getting the number 2 pick to being 2 or 3 key plays away from winning the Super Bowl in a span of 10 months or so. So it's not impossible to turn one of those top 10 picks into a Super Bowl win. But I don't know. I think it's going to be LA. I don't know. They do got to play. Which divisions do they play this year? Presuming we have a full schedule.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Damn son.
They play the NFC South, I believe.
Okay, so that's not easy.
Oh no, it's not at all.
That's certainly not easy. So, I mean, if they play the NFC South, that probably means they play the AFC South, don't they?
No, they played the AFC South last year.
All right.
So,
well, I mean, even if you just look at those 10 games, right? You're playing Patrick Mahomes twice. You're going to play Tom Brady. You're going to play Drew Brees. You're going to play, I guess, Matt Ryan, but are we really counting him? And then you're going to play Carolina as well. I mean, those aren't exactly, those 10 games, you might be lucky to go 500.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. The NFC South is good, but it's just a matter of, they're going to have so many health questions next year.
That's true.
And endurance type stuff because, you have 2 quarterbacks who are over 40. You've got a team in Carolina who's got a quarterback with a busted knee issue. It's a while in the past, but it's still...
you got to mention it.
Yeah. And then Atlanta. Atlanta's been one of the best rosters in football for like 6 years now, but they haven't stayed healthy for any of them. If you look, the only year they were healthy was 2017. Oh, guess what? They went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So if they can just avoid, because it was their starting middle linebacker, starting free safety, starting strong safety, all tore their ACL in 2018.
Unfortunate.
It just sucks. They can't. They have so many pieces on their roster. They have a good offensive line, good wide receiving core. They could run the ball. I don't know if they're going to do any more because they lost all of their running backs. But they got Todd Gurley back, but another guy with injury concerns. It's just, if they're healthy, they're going to be tough. But I don't know how they're going to do it.
So looking next Thursday, do you think there's any surprises that come off the board on day one, or do you think it's going to be mostly chalk?
Yeah, there's a lot that can happen. There's rumors that, who was it? The Ashton Davis I talked about, he can still go first round. I don't know about quarterback surprises. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to surprise anybody. There's always a chance that somebody unexpected is going to trade up and make a big splash. If I had to put my money on it, I would say Dallas, maybe if they have the draft picks. I don't know what their draft haul looks like, but they can move up to try to secure one of the defensive backs. Dolphins could package two of their two late first-round picks or some of their second-round picks and move up and secure themselves a left tackle instead of waiting at 18. Vikings move up to get corner. I don't see the Saints moving up. They only have like 5 picks. Eagles can move up for a wide receiver.
I mean, they need one.
If Jerry Jeudy's there at 15, say Jeudy and Ruggs are there at 15, the Broncos are taking one of them, and then Atlanta's not taking one, and the Cowboys aren't taking one. If Philly can talk the Falcons into moving back 5 spots and letting them go up and get Jeudy at 16 while the Falcons drop back a little bit, Falcons could still be in range to get Caleb Von Chase on an edge rusher, or they can get Christian Fulton, the corner. So
do you really think Judy's going to be on the board near that point, though?
Yeah. I don't think he is, but there's a chance because the Raiders could pass on him. Raiders, I think, take first wide receiver, and that's at 11. I think that's going to be Henry Ruggs.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb.
I'd love to see Jerry Jeudy in Philly. Wow.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb probably goes 13 to the Niners.
Okay.
And then that would leave the Broncos at 15. That's the only thing in their way. But say the Raiders take a corner at 12 and they wait for wide receiver. Well, then that opens up a whole door because then the Eagles have to jump them at 19.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, Jeudy, I don't understand the Jeudy fall. I think I have Jeudy ranked 3rd overall. Yeah.
Wow.
Jeudy and Lamb are tied 3 and 4. Or they're 3 and 4 for me, but they're basically tied at 3, which is insane in this offense, but.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Philadelphia offense, it was basically Carson Wentz and a bunch of JV high school players out there last year. No offense to those guys, but they just had no offensive weapons.
No.
The fact that Philadelphia won that division is astounding. I mean, they need a wide receiver, and boy, if they could get Jeudy, I would feel so much better.
Yeah. If they don't get Jeudy, though, I do think they're going to end up with Justin Jefferson out of LSU, and he's a super reliable pick. I would take him at 21 in a heartbeat. So I could live with it. I really want the Vikings to get him, but I just don't think he's playing that far.
Well, speaking of the Vikings, so obviously you write for the Viking Age. You've covered Minnesota quite a bit in your journalism career. What do you think Minnesota needs to do, and who do you think they end up taking next Thursday?
I would really like to see a trade of some sort. I saw a couple floating around of trading picks, 25 and a couple 4s and a 3-way deal, and you're getting Trent Williams from Washington, and you're getting Desmond King, who would play nickel corner from the Chargers. I don't know how realistic and possible that is, but I would definitely be down for it. But say they sit pat at 22 and 25, they can't draft solely based on need because it's going to put you in a bad spot. But going best player available is not going to work either, just because their roster is not built for that right now. They can't just if Justin Herbert's there at 22, they can't just take him because he's good.
Sure.
Value that just wouldn't make sense. Or same with people wanting to take defensive tackle. I don't like that. Just because they have a good defensive line, it just doesn't make sense to add rotational pieces right now.
Sure.
But I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say that they get Jeff Gladney, the corner out of TCU, at 22. 25 is most likely going to be a wide receiver. I don't think there's going to be an offensive tackle that they want at that spot. I'll say Denzel Mims, the receiver from Baylor, then. Just because he said he grew up a Vikings fan, they got to give him credit. So go get your guy, get some size outside. But they've got a lot of ammo. They've got 12 picks.
It's fair.
So they can, I think they have 5 picks in the first 105 or something like that total. So,
Well, I mean, if you're going to have picks, that's where you want to have them.
yeah.
Well,
Just
boy,
shout out
I
to
tell
the
you,
freaking Giants. They're going to blow another draft, and I can't wait for it.
Is Caleb looking forward to it?
I doubt it. They'd get them.
I mean, basically, unless you're the New York Yankees, every sports team in New York isn't doing that great.
Yeah, no shit. Just the way
Oh,
life
man.
goes.
Yeah, that city's a baseball city if there is one in the U.S., let me tell you. Maybe that and St. Louis. St. Louis is a baseball city.
St. Louis sucks.
Boston. Well, now that I think about it, you could probably consider Boston a baseball. Well, no, Boston's definitely football with the Patriots. But I can't think of any other baseball cities, but that's all right.
Here I am, just wanting to go to Vegas, and I can't go. Got Goodell doing it from his basement. Hopefully his wife comes in and boos him. That's all we can hope for.
That's funny. I like that. Yeah, Goodell, I mean, it sucks that he had to create COVID-19 to stop getting booed at the draft.
Yeah.
Here we are, you know what I mean?
That's a conspiracy theory I'm welcome. Man, I can't talk. I'm looking to dive into a little bit.
Well, I honestly think the Astros did it so that way they get 42 games less of repentance.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Their lives
Well,
coming back.
Well, and so speaking of baseball a little bit here, so obviously there's no sports going on. There's been talk of the baseball opening day being on June 16th. If we were to have a normal season and the playoffs would start first week of October, that would leave approximately 98 games left in the season if you started around June 16th. If you push that to the end of October and you play a November postseason and you sprinkle some doubleheaders in there, you could probably hit 120 games. Maybe, I don't think 144 is feasible. Splitting the difference and going 132 might be feasible if you do nothing but Saturday doubleheaders. But I think with Saturday doubleheaders, the problem is you can't play any Sunday day games.
Yeah.
Because you're basically going to be playing, I mean, just doing so say you're an East Coast team going to Oakland, or you're the Nats going to play the Dodgers. You're playing a 12p. You're playing a 12p and a 7p, and then they're asking you to come back and play a 12p the next day, and you're going to do that every weekend the entire season. I don't see the union going for it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to be traveling a whole lot, though.
Well, I mean,
Isn't the plan? I thought the plan was just play everything in Phoenix.
Well, so I've heard that. I've also heard a possibility of them playing all the games in Japan, playing major league games during the day, and playing the Japanese games at night. I don't think, boy, if they do that, that would be crazy. I don't think they'd be successful at all in doing that. But I don't know. I mean, if they're going to do something different, this is certainly the year to do it, just with the circumstances going on. But I mean, if they play everything in Phoenix, boy, you really can't do doubleheaders out there all the time then, because you're going to be asking players to play 4 games in 48 hours in 105-degree Phoenix.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to do
character that way.
Oh boy, I mean, it probably tear ACLs too, cost Tommy Johns. You know what I mean? And so we got this black doggy in front of us, and he is eyeballing me down. Boy, he is standing his ground. Oh, there he goes. He goes running. Good doggy. Good doggy.
Pussy.
Well, I didn't want to have to. Oh, he's back in the road. Here he is. All right, we got a little guest on the podcast here. If he starts gnawing on my ankles, we'll know why. He is. I'm kind of scared at the moment.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
It's like a black lab. That's like a black lab. And he's kind of big. He's actually kind of cute. But all right, bye, doggy. All right, we're back.
That's what
So,
you guys get.
Yeah, I mean, this is live. This is live. When you're out here running the block like I am, man, you never know what's going to happen. I told you guys last week on the pod, I come from a street where you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. You never know what's going to pop up.
Damn.
I know. That's wild. Dog's following us again, man. Oh, this could get real wild. This could get crazy action. Wow. Now, so in terms of the other sports, talk a little baseball, talk draft. Anything else going on that's worthy of our attention?
Damn, I can't really think of anything. I am curious how like the NBA draft's gonna work with not having. I mean, if the season just gets canceled and they jump into next year, they just end it with the 2019-2020 season. How's draft order gonna work?
Well,
and everything like that. It's gonna, because I mean, there's still, I believe there's like 6 teams who are within a few picks or within a few games of each other who would be fighting for the rights of the lottery. So it's kind of
so I think for that what you could probably do. How many games does everybody play? They have what? 15 games left in the season, thereabout.
I think so, something like that. Yeah.
So, say you take everybody's first 65 games, and you use that to determine draft lottery order, and then, well, not the lottery, but the ping pong ball chance or whatever. I mean, I think that'd be the most fair way to do it. I really don't see. Boy, if they come back and they finish that season, boy, there's a lot of doggies here. Ooh, boy, it's making me scared. Ooh, no, I'm just kidding. No, if they come back and they try to finish this season out, boy, they got a mess to clean up because, I mean, you got some teams that have played probably 68 games, other teams that have played 65. Man, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I don't know, man. I think that's probably the best way to do it, though, is just do the draft lottery based on the team's first 65 games.
Yeah. It's just a mess, but they can't really control it, so obviously it's going to suck, but hopefully
Sure, and I mean,
something out. Somebody's got to get the rights to LaMelo.
Probably going to be the Knicks, man. Probably going to be the Knicks. But I think hockey and basketball are in similar situations. But with basketball, there's been talk of them wanting to shift the season back anyway from December to August instead of October to June.
Yeah.
This could be their chance to do it. So they've probably got more of a chance of playing a full schedule than what the NHL does. But, man, I don't know. The odds of them coming back, playing out the rest of the season, because even after all this blows over, teams are going to need 4 weeks to just get back into playing shape. You know what I mean?
I mean, they've got the advantage of guys like LeBron, who's got the gym. Mike Conley has a gym, but then you have a guy like TJ Leaf. I doubt he's got a home gym.
Sure.
Which,
exactly.
Again, it's not like it matters because he doesn't touch the court because the Pacers don't have a pick. But
But, I mean, still, you got all these players. You're going to be risking increased injuries. And then you're asking players to come out and just play 25 to 30 games of super hard basketball. They're not going to be doing their whole load management or whatever because now they've been load managing for the last 4 or 5 weeks,
Yeah.
So that puts into question how much time over the offseason are they going to have to recover. And I don't know. I think it's more of a question for hockey because I don't see hockey shifting their next season schedule. And so those players are going to come out. They're also going to play the same 25 to 30 games if they go on and play in the Stanley Cup Finals. You're going to ask them to have a shorter off season and then come back and hit the ground running in October. I don't know. It might be best if they both just jump straight into the playoffs and have a modified bracket, so to say. Instead of having 16 teams, increase it to 24. Or
Yeah.
make it to where every team that hadn't been eliminated, put them in, you got to get creative. There's no great way to do it by any stretch of the imagination. But, boy, I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
it's tough.
Yeah. So,
Man.
but maybe next Monday, we'll have more insight. We'll have more of an idea of what these teams and leagues are wanting to do. I know they're all wanting to say come out on May 1st and announce their plans, which would be in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Ballpark. So I don't know. Until then, we're just sitting here speculating.
Yeah, it's a whole mess. I mean, it's been even worse because there's just been so much of nothing happening. There's not really anything we can even guess at this point. Every time we get a step in the right direction, something else happens. But
sure, and as much as I like watching and following Belarusian soccer or Chinese table tennis, that that horse competition on ESPN the other night was riveting.
that was brutal.
Yeah. Super fair way of stating that.
I just don't know how the production team passed it. There was like the worst camera quality I think I've ever seen. We had to make the catching sound like like 3-year-old out there recording for. Yeah, he wasn't 3, but it's still the same point.
Sure. Yeah, it was bad TV. It was really bad. There's only so many replays I can watch. You know what I mean? After a while, like, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't know. So, come on, sports.
Please.
You know what you gotta do. So, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. Obviously, if nothing happens, we still have the stream that we're doing once a week, barring any changes in plans or whatever. Next week's going to be a little different because we got the draft next weekend. So we'll keep you guys updated on what we're doing for that. Not entirely sure on when we're going live this week, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we can figure it out. Yeah, and then next week, we're hoping to get the regular show in early in the week, hopefully Monday or Tuesday, and then the rest of the week will be tough. For the stream, we might just have to postpone the stream until the following week. Who knows? We might be able to get it done. Just I'll be busy from Thursday at 7 until about Sunday at
midnight Saturday.
8. Yeah. So.
Well, I was gonna say, we could bring a few guests on the podcast and tell a few stories. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah! What kind of stories?
Well, our Wabash Day stories. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
JC, Jake, and Ralph. But
I'm cool with it.
I'd be cool with it too, but I'm not sure if they'd be cool with it. Plus, I don't want to have to censor our conversation too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it was crazy, man.
It was wild. Nothing like.
Maybe I'll reach out to them and see if they want to come on.
Yeah, nothing like writing that fourth paper for religion or designing that third speech of the week for rhetoric. You know what I mean? That's crazy. You took rhetoric 101, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I killed it too.
Hey, there you go.
I wrote a paper on why Washington should change their name.
The football team. Let's get that.
Not like the state of Washington. Yeah, the football team. Which, if you guys know, if you read any of my stuff, I will never write it. Anytime I get it, always will just say Washington. It looks funny to me, even, but I'm not gonna sit there and write it out. So
Yeah.
looks like it. So
He doesn't
Snyder's
broadcast or advertise the mascot name, which is pretty respectable considering how consistent he's been. So
yeah.
yeah. Now, a little fun story we'll end today's show with. Speaking of rhetoric, freshman year were we in your room or were we in Jake and Luke's room? Whenever I had that one paper due at like Friday 5 and it's like 4:55, and
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was in your room. But
I
I
mean,
had
we're right
a
next to each other, so it's all the same.
well, I mean, yeah, but I'm trying to think of who I was with. But we may have all been together. But I had this paper due at like 5, and it's 4:55, and I'm still writing, and I'm putting the finishing touches on. And I get this paper printed off, and I take off sprinting. And the building that our rhetoric classes were in was right next to the building we stayed in freshman year. And I'm sprinting across the train tracks to get this turned in. Lo and behold, I didn't realize this till later, but all the boys were sitting out the window watching Fat Boy run towards the towards the Fine Arts Center, and they came back and they were like, "Hey, did you get that in on time, bud?" And I'm like, "Oh, you saw that, huh?" Oh,
That
damn.
was nice. I didn't have to wake up for that class. I mean, I had it in the afternoon, but like
Oh, I had it at
I could
9
go to
a.m.
I could go to lunch, come back, take a nap, and wake up right before class started. Because I mean, it was literally like next door to the dorm, and no
Yeah,
other class was really like that.
yeah. I remember my freshman year, the first day of classes freshman year. I so classes there start on Thursday, and I guess it would have been the second day because these are my Friday classes. But on Friday, I had 9 a.m. rhetoric, 11 a.m. French. And the first day, I thought my rhetoric class was in the French building, and French was in the rhetoric. So it's like 8:58, and I'm at Detchen. And if anybody from the Wabash area knows, Detchen and the Fine Arts Center are not close to each other. They are not next door.
It's like the
And so
only far walk on campus.
pretty much, especially if you're going between academic buildings. And I was like, well, son of a bitch. So, like any good freshman, I go sprinting across campus, backpack in hand, and I get up to the second floor of the Fine Arts Center and sit down. Class has started. I'm a sweaty mess, and like the one kid from my high school that was also there was in that class, and I sat right next to him. And man, that was embarrassing. That was really. Did you ever have any stories like that where you were in the wrong building or whatever, and you had to embarrass yourself going across campus?
No, because I knew how to read a schedule.
Oh,
But
zing!
I
Got
had
me
a
there.
few where I would just like 8 a.m.s always sucked. I remember I think it was my senior year. I had an 8 a.m. class with Aikens, and I woke up at maybe 7:53.
Every day.
Yeah, and there was one day, dude, I rolled out of bed. It was like
Was this
I
senior year
yeah,
or
this
junior
was
year?
senior year.
So you're way across campus then, because I assume all these classes were in Center Hall.
Yeah, this one was top floor of Center Hall, so
Brutal.
a great morning walk. And I mean, it's early in the semester, so it's like mid-February maybe. Blistering cold outside. So I get up at like 7:53. Got to go to the bathroom first. I go pee, grab my drink, and try to grab all my books. By the time I leave my room, it's like 7:56, 7:57. I got 3 minutes to book it across campus and get upstairs to this class. Dude, I book it, right? It's freezing cold. I can't breathe because it's like, I mean, it's killing my chest. I get in there, like right at the start of class. She doesn't show up that day and cancels class like 2 hours later. She doesn't slept in. Bro, I was so mad. I think I ended up skipping my 9 a.m. that day. So I went back in
Oh,
bed. It just pisses me off.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I never went to the wrong building.
Oh, I certainly did. Yeah, I was that kid for a
I just
portion
hated
of my.
having classes with like people I didn't know. I was in one class where I was the only senior. I was in a class where I was the only. Actually, I think I was in two classes. I was the only senior because I had one with Bayer that was like that.
Was that the one his daughter was in?
Yeah, 15-year-old like freshman in high school was taking a college course because high school was too easy for her.
And keep in mind, it's an all-male school, so.
And I am relatively certain she snitched on me for watching baseball in class because I had my laptop every day watching whatever baseball game was on at 2 o'clock. And I remember one day I came in, he was like, all right, guys, no more laptops. It's like, God damn, I got to take notes by hand now. And like I had a notebook out and I had the laptop out. Like there was obviously no way in hell I was taking notes on my laptop.
Sure.
But man, I was so sad. I watched so many Braves games that year. They were all on at like 2 or 3 o'clock. I guess I'm watching that again.
That Wednesday 2 p.m. Eastern slot. You know Atlanta's playing that time.
Yep, TBS every freaking time too.
Yeah. That's okay. You got the streams off Reddit though, didn't you?
No, I got them off of my paid subscription to Turner Sports Network.
That's right. That's right. I forgot. I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
I never streamed anything off of Reddit. Or
Same,
even
man.
like Buff streams or
Grandma streams or Ace streams, you know.
Yeah, it was never anything even close to that. I wouldn't even know something like that.
Yeah, man, like I never once went on MMA streams on Reddit or NFL streams or MLB streams with the Z. I never did any of that, man. I never did. I could show you my subscriptions now if I were at the house, but as you can see, I'm clearly running the streets.
Yeah, I could too, but I can't find them in my drawer, so.
Same. Plus, they got the passwords on them, and I know.
Yeah, I don't want to leak that information.
Same, man. I totally feel you.
Shit.
So.
Well, I guess, man, this was a weird week. Yeah, I guess we'll figure something out for a stream later this week and then on for next week. So next week we've got Draft Thursday. Maybe I can talk to some of the guys, see if they want to come on Monday or Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can do that on here. We might have to do it through Zoom.
I'd be down with it.
Yeah, I'm down, whatever.
I'm down with it.
So, can you add multiple people to a call? Oh, snap, you can't. Well, damn, we might do that. We'll see what happens. We'll get the boys.
To a Skype call?
Yeah.
We'll see. So we might have some guests on for you next week.
Yes, sir.
So, but I guess that's going to be it for us this week on the show.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan. I might go back to bed. I just woke up a little bit ago. I got a gnarly headache. It's been a rough one today. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll let you guys know when we're streaming this week. When Keanan wants to get his ass kicked yet again. I don't know if you guys saw I think it was Friday night.
We don't have to talk about it.
Dude didn't stand a chance, dude.
But yeah. I mean, if you guys really want to see what happened, I mean, I guess you could go check out last week's stream podcast, but you really don't. I mean, don't feel obliged. You know what I mean? Nothing really interesting happened in the first half hour of that podcast. Anyway, just skip to about the 45-minute mark.
Yeah, right. This dude sucks. Dude can't even hang. But maybe this time around he'll figure it out. We got to find different teams to use. You've already run through half the league. I'm about to just play as the stupid Orioles and give you the Bombers or whatever. Jeez, man.
Oh boy, you really disrespect me like that. Oh,
Get
I
a
mean, I
grip.
get it, but
Yeah. Well, you should get it because you're
okay, we'll figure
the most
something out.
incompetent player I've ever seen, apparently. So,
Fair. I mean, these are all factual statements.
but yeah, we'll
So,
stream again. We'll figure out some sort of matchup we can run with, and then get back into it. But until then, thanks for sticking with us.
yes, sir. Well, we'll see you back. I think our next episode is episode 15, and so we'll continue bringing content. So
Yes, sir.
we'll see you later this week, guys.
Yep. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.